Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. It is our country's birthday, the 4th of July. So happy birthday, USA. Hope everyone has or is having a safe 4th of July. Don't want to hear about anybody blowing their fingers off or anything else. It's still light here, so fireworks around here aren't starting for a few more hours. Those of you that are on the East Coast are probably already at it. But anyway, so yeah, working about an hour or so less today. Treat myself a little bit here since it is a national holiday. So let's talk about what I did for the day. So as you can see, got the 55 Beetle back on the ground with its own wheels and tires and adjusted the rear suspension. And I don't think I have to tell you that it looks bitchin'. I love this combination. The Interceptors in black, and then these old school Pirelli tires, and then the Drum Skinz from my friends at Fiber Steel. What an awesome combination. So you can see the Drum Skinz kind of poking out through the slots in the wheels there. And then you can see a little bit of it in the middle. So because we have these weird drums on this car that we had to have machined, we weren't able to use the version of the Drum Skinz that go pretty much right up to the axle nut. We had to use the more open variety, which is made for like buses and stuff. But that's okay. So I took some paint that's pretty close match to aluminum and went ahead and painted the drums that color. So I think unless you're sort of looking for it, it just kind of looks like it's all aluminum, even though the drum itself, which again is showing in the middle there, is steel. But I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Anyway, really great combo here. I've seen cars before with the silver Interceptors, the sort of silver version of these wheels with Drum Skinz, and it still looks cool, but to me, the black version in this case is better because it really makes the Drum Skinz kind of pop through those openings there, and it really looks like this thing's got a big old massive set of 356 drum brakes on it. So the other thing that I did while I was putting this car back together was I did adjust the rear suspension down about 1 inch. It'll probably settle a little bit more from where it is here. We'll see. This is where it's settled now, is just for me sort of rolling the car back and forth and kind of pushing on the back bumper while I roll it back and forth. So once I get it out and drive it, it'll probably settle a little bit more. I think it looks pretty perfect where it is, even if it goes down a hair more and back. I think the look is pretty killer. But the nice thing about the adjustable spring plates and the adjustable front beam is the owner can very easily tweak the ride height to his heart's content and get it exactly where he wants it and have lots of fun doing it. So that is the main thing that I accomplished on this car. Actually, that's not true. I also did a front end alignment. I just did sort of an eyeball front end alignment when I was putting the front beam together, knowing that I needed to get the car on the ground and get it at ride height and so on and so forth. So I used my my toe plates and turn plates today, got the front end on those and did an alignment sitting right at 1/8 inch toe in right now, which is pretty much spec for these. It was off a little bit based on my eyeball alignment. I think it might have been more like a 1/4 inch toe in, maybe more like 3/8. But anyway, I knew it was going to be off. So yeah, got that all dialed in, tightened down the tie rod ends, so it should stay put now. And yeah, that's it for this guy. So the yellow one, took it for a drive this morning and had kind of a funny drive with the car. Those of you that watch the channel know that yesterday I spent a long time kind of jacking around with the turn signal cancellation mechanism on this car, and I had to go in there and shim the cancel ring and kind of reshape the little fin that actually does the canceling that's up part of the cancel ring. And what else did I have to do? I had to like monkey around with the mechanism itself on the turn signal stock to get the little tab to stick out further so that the cancel ring would actually engage it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I had to do like everything possible to get it to work. But anyway, coming back to my test drive this morning, when I took the car for a test drive and I would sort of like push on the steering wheel, either in the course of a turn or whatever, the horn would honk. So I cut my test drive pretty short because I didn't want to get shot or anything. You can drive around honking. People think you're honking at them, and you never know what people are going to do. So took it back to the shop, and I had put 3 washers between the horn ring and the horn adapter as part of my work to get the turn signal cancel to work. And so I took out one of those washers from each of the 3 screws, and that issue was gone. So I think that it was just pushing. There's like a little contact on the turn signal stock, little brass, kind of like a little brass finger. And then on the horn ring, or the turn signal cancel ring, it has a circular contact on there. And I think it was just pushing those 2 together, kind of sandwiching those 2 together a little bit too hard maybe, and causing it to basically honk on its own if you applied a little pressure on the steering wheel. So anyway, I got that solved. The car is still not running great. I'm suspecting a carburetor issue. So today I went ahead and pulled the carburetor, yanked it all apart, and soaked it in good old Berryman's for a long time, probably like 4 hours. Got it all cleaned out, and then I even put it back in the ultrasonic bath for a while. I cleaned it in gasoline a while. I used some of the spray type Berryman's. There were some passages in here that were a little suspicious, and then one that was just flat out plugged. So this side port here is actually the vacuum that goes to the single vacuum dual advance distributor that I have on here. And as it turns out, that was completely plugged. So I'm not sure how much that would affect the idling issue. It might actually affect it some, because if this was actually working, the vacuum on this may actually give it a little bit more advance at idle, which would also help the idle issue. But nonetheless, it'll definitely run better now that this is going to produce vacuum as it should. So I went through and like blew out all the passages over and over and over, and they should all be open now. I would be very surprised if anything in this carburetor is not open now. I used like a whole can of that spray Berryman's in there. Each one of these little passages here, anything that looked like a passage, I pretty much put the little red hose on there and squirted and made sure that it was in turn coming out, through some other hole on this thing, since pretty much every hole on here is connected to some other hole. It's kind of the way they work. So pretty much sprayed in all of them. I think they're all open now, and so put it back together. The other thing I realized with this carburetor is it has enormous jets on it, and so I may have to do something about that. I actually got my my jet gauge out, and the idle jet on this thing is actually a 70, which is enormous. This thing should be, well, it doesn't matter if you can read it, you'll have to take my word. This thing should be like a 55, maybe a 60. It's a 70, which is just a pig of a jet. So I can't imagine that was helping. And then the main jet is probably also a little big. It's a 140, which may not be horrible. It should probably be more like a 130 or so, maybe even a 125, maybe 135 at the most. 140 seems a little fat. So I will probably try and rejet this carburetor too and see if that helps. But I think the main culprit was probably some clogged passages on this thing. Even though I'd ultrasonically cleaned it before, I think it had sat for so long, and as you guys probably know, when gas evaporates, it pretty much turns into like a solid plug of hardened shellac. So I think I got all that out. Anyway, probably put this back together tomorrow and see how it goes. So that is it for today, guys. Again, thanks for anyone who actually hung around and watched this whole thing, and hope you all, again, enjoy your 4th, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.